All right, well, we've heard countless stories of lives being affected by border closures, the stories of people being denied access into states despite their urgent medical emergencies, people being denied the chance to say goodbye to their loved ones, or people not allowed to return home to see their families after months of service. The double standard of border rules is senseless, heartless, and it's still going on. A Queensland father, David Jonsson, has been forced into hotel quarantine after undergoing life-saving brain surgery despite his doctor insisting he needs to recover at home. David joins me now from his hotel quarantine room. David, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're saying that this is double standards. I think a lot of people watching this show at home right now would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, from what I've heard and what I've seen from people who have been granted exemptions, that's all I can call it at this stage.
Now, you're saying it should be a fair go for everyone, but the problem is that you're now marooned, if you like, in a hotel quarantine room. How long have you got to go?
About another 9 days here.
Okay, another 9 days. So you've been there 5 days at the moment. And you've seen other people given exemptions, David, including rock stars, celebrities, football players. What would you say to Anastasia Palaszczuk and Dr Jeanette Young tonight to bolster your chances of getting home sooner rather than later?
Look, Peter, firstly, I don't think I've got any chances of getting out of here early. I would just say, look, when you're going to have, things like this in place in a country, a free country like Australia, that, the same rules need to apply to everyone. I think that's true to the Australian spirit, that's for sure.
Now, your doctor, Charlie Teo, your surgeon, actually sent a note to health authorities in Queensland, but they took no notice.
Yeah, I had a letter from Charlie stating exactly that I needed to get home. I had a letter from my rehab centre just saying that I also needed to get home just because I had the equipment to rehabilitate. So, I mean, yeah, I pretty much woke up paralysed up the left-hand side of my body, and I've had a pretty hard journey to get movement back in my leg and my arm. And I'm probably only at 60% at this point in time in both those limbs. So I'm just trying to, I had the equipment at home to do that. So they just said, he has to go home to do that unless, I guess, they could have provided something else, which they haven't.
David, it would have been a much less stressful period for you because you would have been able to rehabilitate at home. You wouldn't have the stress of being isolated. I can't understand why this exemption wasn't granted. What reason did they give you?
They didn't give me a reason. They did find me 2 hours after I came out of ICU, and I was pretty heavily medicated at the time. I thought it was my health fund calling me, Queensland Country Health Fund, and then they started asking me questions, and I sort of realised who it was. At the time, their reasoning behind it was that they didn't think that they could trust me to stay at home. They also said, do you realise that your wife and kids are going to have to stay at home? I said, yes, we do realise that. They said, yeah, but your wife, your kids are going to have to go to school and daycare. And I said, that's a bad assumption to make because my kids actually don't go to school or daycare. When they sort of realised that I just got out of ICU and I was pretty stressed out at this point in time from the conversation, they decided to end it at that point. And then, didn't really hear much back after that.
David, people are really angry about your story. They're angry about many, many stories, but I saw Radio Talkback light up during the week when this particular story emerged. You also need to do exercise, don't you, to ensure that your rehabilitation is as good as it can be. You can't do much exercise in a hotel room.
No, I've tried my best. So I've been doing squats and a bunch of other stuff that the rehab printed out for me because I didn't have an answer while I was still there. So they sort of jumped around and tried to put together, a sort of basic exercise program that I could do in here. I mean, it's definitely not enough. As of today, I've given the government probably 5 days to try and organise something. I put in multiple requests and I just sort of had enough, and I just actually bought my own exercise bike in here. It cost me about $700 to get it delivered, but I just, it's essential that I keep progressing in my development.
Well, David, a lot of people empathise with you. A lot of people are on your side. You're 5 days in, you've got 9 days to go, so you've still got a fair way to go there, but there's a lot of people in this state, a lot of people in this country right now who would say that this is complete madness, that it's un-Australian and that it's double standards. So look, keep your chin up, and let's just hope that sanity prevails and we can get you out of there, hopefully in the next 48 hours.
Thanks, Peter. I hope this just sheds light to other people that might be in the same situation, and hopefully they don't have to go through the same situation I have.
All right, keep your chin up, mate. Well done. See you, David.